Are you tired of seeing all of those negative videos about not going somewhere and not moving somewhere and the things that I hate about certain locations? Well, I am. In this video, I'm going to tell you the 5 things that I love about living in Florida, specifically in the Melbourne, Florida area. I've lived here in the Melbourne, Florida area for 40 years, and I'm going to share with you my personal experiences as to what is so great about this Melbourne, Florida area. And we're going to get after it right now. Melbourne is located on the east central coast of Florida and is located about an hour's drive southeast of Orlando. So on my list of 5 things that I love about the Melbourne, Florida area, I'm going to start with 5 and work my way up to number 1. So the number 5 thing that I love about living in Melbourne, Florida is the fact that Melbourne, Florida and the Brevard County area is more of a medium-sized town, a medium-sized area. It's more of a suburban feel. So there are approximately 630 residents here in Brevard County, and that number is growing every day. It's growing by almost 3%, but still it's a spread out area. There's not many urban or congested areas, as I would call it. Now, again, everything is relative. There is some downtown areas like downtown Melbourne is a very nice area. There's some other downtown historic areas like Cocoa and Titusville, but most of the region is more of a suburban feel or lighter than that. Now, again, Florida is growing every day. There's people moving here to Florida, moving to Melbourne, Florida every day, and the area is getting bigger. But there is more of a spread out feel about the area, and that's what I love about this area. Now, the Melbourne area, the Brevard County area, is the 10th largest county in the state of Florida. And the Melbourne area itself is not a huge tourist location or destination. Yes, we do get our share of tourists here in the Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach area, Satellite Beach, Melbourne Beach, and even the mainland areas like Melbourne. It does get tourists, but it's nowhere near, say, like Daytona or Fort Lauderdale or Miami. It's nowhere near that. So yes, the beaches will get a little bit more busy during the December through April timeframe, which is we call snowbird season. But again, overall, the Melbourne does not increase its numbers drastically during tourist season overall like it would those other areas. Now, the number 4 reason I love living in the Melbourne, Florida area is that the local economy is strong and is getting better every day. So in general, Florida is a very business-friendly state. Of course, there are no state income taxes in Florida. There is a sales tax in Brevard County here of 7%, which is about average, maybe a little below average from others in the country. So job growth in Florida and in Melbourne in specific is very, very strong. And for me, I like that. I like to see an area grow. I don't want to see it grow too fast. And that's all, again, relative. But the Melbourne area is growing when it comes to jobs, when it comes to employers, when it comes to housing, when it comes to restaurants and businesses and everything else. And to me, I like that because an area that's not growing is dying, in my opinion. And there are areas all across the U.S., unfortunately, that aren't seeing growth. And to me, they're dying and people are moving away from many of those areas. So that's one positive thing I really like about the Melbourne, Florida area. Now, companies that have recently decided to open up businesses here in the Melbourne, Florida area include Costco, it includes Whole Foods, Ford's Garage, several restaurants and hotels, and many other businesses that are going to offer great services and goods to the Melbourne, Florida area. My name is David Jelinek. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Melbourne, Florida area, which is also known as the Space Coast. Please know that I make videos that are all about the Melbourne, Florida area, what it's like to live here, what it's like to work here, what it's like to play here, the food, the beaches, the entertainment, the real estate, and much, much more. I've lived in this area for 40 years. I've been a realtor for 36 years, and I've sold hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of homes here in the Melbourne, Florida area. And I want to tell you the story about Melbourne, Florida. Please consider hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button, click that little bell. That way you'll be notified every time I drop a new video just like this about Melbourne, Florida. And hey, I'm getting contacted almost every day from people all across the country, people who are considering a move to the Melbourne, Florida area, and I absolutely love it. However you decide you want to contact me, please know that when it comes to making a move to the Melbourne, Florida area, I've got the experience and I've got your back. Let's go. So my third most favorite thing about living here in Florida is actually all the things that there are to do here in Florida. And the things to do begin with all of the beautiful beaches there are around the state of Florida, beginning with Jacksonville Beach, down through Daytona Beach, Cocoa Beach, Melbourne Beach, down south through Fort Lauderdale, Miami Beach, and up on the West Coast there, Siesta Key. So many beaches in the Panhandle. The Panhandle is some of the most beautiful, white, fine, sandy beaches there are in the world, in my opinion. Just beaches galore here in the state of Florida. And then all the other activities there are. You, of course, have all the wonderful things there you can do in Orlando. You have all of the Disney, the Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Universal Island. You have so many things there to do in Orlando. It's just countless things. Of course, people spend weeks and weeks there just doing things only in Orlando. And then one of the best exhibits and visitors attractions I think there is in the world is at the Kennedy Space Center. Going to the Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex, seeing all of the history of the rockets being built and all the, you can go to the launch pads for the shuttle and other facilities. There's just so many great things at the Kennedy Space Center. Of course, you go down through the Keys. The Keys are very unusual situation there. The drive down there, going over the 7 Mile Bridge, and the Keys is just a remarkable area just to go visit down there. The most southern point in the United States, of course, and just other areas that you can visit. Of course, the Dry Tortugas National Park there, which is just south of the Keys. And then you go up the West Coast there. You got Busch Gardens there in the Tampa area, Sanibel Island. There's just so many things up in the Panhandle. You got the Florida Cavern State Park, Ocala National Forest. Just so many things to do, and this is just a drop in the bucket as to what there are to do in Florida. Again, I grew up in the western suburbs of Chicago, where there's ballparks, there are adventure parks, there's theme parks and everything else, but there is nowhere near the amount of things that you can do in the Illinois area, in my opinion, like there is here in Florida. And I believe Florida will say that or compare that way to almost any area in the country. There are so many great things to do in Florida, and that's one of the things I love about living here in Florida. Number 2 on my list of why I love living in Florida is the weather. So the weather is livable here year-round. Yes, 10 months out of the year, we have temperatures in the mid-80s up to the low 90s. In a couple months in the January, February timeframe, yes, temperatures average as a high in the low 70s and the lows in the mid-50s. We generally get, on average, about 3 days a year where the temperature dips below freezing. Yes, just for a couple hours or so. So the weather here is great. Yes, you have to get used to the heat. You have to get used to the humidity. It takes about a year to adjust to that. If you get too hot, you can just go inside and enjoy the AC. And because the weather is so good, you can enjoy outdoor activities year-round here. So the weather is number 2 on my list for why I love living in Florida. And I think that'll be a big reason for you as well. Okay, so now we're at the number 1 reason why I love living here in the Melbourne, Florida area, and that's just the active outdoor lifestyle that you can enjoy, that you have a part of here in Florida. Now, I want to speak of the Melbourne, Brevard County area here, but these descriptions I'm going to give you apply to most areas of Florida in general. And the number 1 thing that you can enjoy here in the Melbourne area, in the Brevard County area, is the 72 miles of the beautiful beaches here on the Atlantic Ocean. So my favorite beaches here in the Brevard County area, my number 1 is Melbourne Beach. I love Melbourne Beach because actually it's a little bit more remote. It's tends to be a little less crowded, and the sand and the beaches there are just beautiful. But there's others along the county here which are almost just as good, in my opinion. You get up to the Cocoa Beach Pier area there. You can enjoy everything there at the pier. There's activities. There's restaurants, there's the large pier course you can go out and enjoy. There's sand beach volleyball courts there. Just a beautiful area. And all along the coast there's some very nice big and small parks to enjoy. But in Brevard County, all along here in the Melbourne, Florida area, there are over 150 parks for you to enjoy. And those parks will include parks where you can play golf, tennis, pickleball, baseball, softball, football, surfing, of course, there at the beaches. You can go boating along the ocean and the rivers and the canals, jet skiing, of course, swimming, hiking. There's large parks such as Wickham Park, which enjoys areas where you can camp. You can go out there, and there's pavilions there that you can have picnics with your family. There are swimming lakes there that you can go to. Wickham Park is just an awesome park. There's also wildlife sanctuaries all over the county. And you go up in, one of my favorite is in Palm Bay, and that's the Turkey Creek Sanctuary, just a beautiful place to hang out. Down there, you can actually do some canoeing there along the canals. You have the Merritt Island Wildlife Refuge up in the northern part of the county, where you get to see some of the pristine Florida landscape, and just a great place to get away, nice and quiet out there, enjoy the scenery and the water and the swamp areas out there, and the wildlife is just wonderful. The Viera wetlands in the central part of the county is just another great place to get away and see the wildlife and natural Florida landscape. And the Brevard Zoo there in the Viera area is always rated as one of the top zoos in the country. Get to see a lot of exciting animals in their exhibits, and even some fun rides there. You got the tree track zip lining, which is just a fun activity. So the Brevard Zoo is a must-see here in Brevard County. And as I mentioned before, the Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex is just a great place to go see. And this is just, again, tip of the iceberg when things to do here in the Brevard County area, in the Melbourne area. A lot of the new neighborhoods have their own amenity parks where they have swimming pools, and they have tennis courts, and they have indoor gyms, places to play basketball and pickleball and tennis and things like that. And in each neighborhood, there's actually, in the newer neighborhoods, they actually have little pavilions and parks spotted all along the new neighborhoods, mostly newer neighborhoods there. That just makes living here a wonderful thing, whether you have kids or you're retired or anywhere in between. Just a lot of great things to enjoy here in the Melbourne, Florida area. So these are my top things that I love about living here in Florida, specifically here in the Melbourne, Florida area. Please share your favorite areas, what you like about the Melbourne, Florida area. Put those in the comments below. Again, this is a positive video. Again, I know there's negatives to living everywhere, but this is a positive video. So tell me what you like about the Melbourne area, or what you like specifically about your area anywhere in the country. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.